I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time now, and I kind of always put it off because I was making like the other videos and I've also been pretty busy, but I finally get to make it. Now, granted, I haven't read or watched every single Marvel manga or anime out there. Actually, I haven't read any kind of Marvel manga at all. I have watched like a couple of episodes of like Marvel anime, but they never really seemed that good to me. And yeah, as I mentioned, I haven't read any kind of Marvel manga, all except for Spider-Man Fake Red. I remember this manga blowing up the past like few months when it was really released in 2020. And at first glance, I thought the art style was cool, but even though I love Spider-Man and manga, I didn't really give it a chance, which I now highly regret. That was until I started seeing reviews and videos about Fake Red, and after watching some of them, I decided to order a copy of the volume myself and read through it all in one go, and holy hell was this good. To put the story in short words, the story focuses on our main protagonist, Yu. On a particular day, he finds Spider-Man's suit right next to a dumpster. At first, he believes it was a cosplay, but he finds out that the suit belongs to the actual Spider-Man due to finding like a web shooter on the suit and actually shooting a web. And as you can predict, when he puts on the suit, he gets mistaken for the real Spider-Man, and not wanting to drag Spidey's name through the ground, Yu takes it upon himself to fill in for Peter Parker, and so he has to fight through many tough challenges and villains throughout the story. I'm not going to go into details about the story and stuff because I feel like you guys should give this manga a read. Believe me, you won't regret it and you'll have a blast reading it. So without further ado, I just want to talk about more about this manga because I really love it. One of my favorite parts about this manga is the main protagonist, Yu. Yu describes himself as an outcast. He has no friends, no special powers, and he's failing his classes. His father wants him to succeed in the prestigious high school he got into, but he gets put under a lot of stress. To escape reality, he does rock climbing as a hobby, and right here in this panel, we see how Yu views Spider-Man. Even if it's just a little, I start to feel like Spidey. Right there, we see that Yu has admiration for Spider-Man. Spider-Man is an example of someone he wants to be, and rock climbing gives him that. Right after he leaves, he notices a kid from his class being bullied, and one of my favorite parts about this is that the kid sees Yu and his eyes are screaming for help, and while Yu wants to help him, he doesn't because he's scared to stand up to them. He looks at Spider-Man on his phone and knows that Spider-Man would step in and help the kid out. But when he turns back around, he freezes again. He himself believes he doesn't have the bravery or strength to stand up to those bullies like Spider-Man does because he's scared of getting hurt. Once the bullies leave, Yu makes sure that the kid was okay and apologizes, but the kid tells you not to worry about it and tells him that he didn't expect you to step in at all. I didn't get my hopes up anyway, which really hits home for Yu. The face he makes when the kid says that, it just makes him realize that nobody really expects anything out of him that way. Yu knows himself that other people don't see him as a reliable person to help out in these kinds of situations. Yu is shown to be an outcast, weak, and unable to stand up to bullies because he's scared, because he compares himself to Spider-Man on numerous occasions. Right after the kid leaves, Yu finds a Spider-Man costume next to the dumpster. When he takes it back to his apartment, he comes to the first obvious conclusion that this was just a cosplay. And so for fun, he puts on the mask and suit and starts taking pictures. But then notices the web shooter on his wrist, and when he accidentally shoots a web, he realizes that the suit belongs to the actual Spider-Man himself. Not knowing who Spider-Man actually is, he puts on the suit and stands on top of a building, hoping that he can grab the attention of the real Spider-Man and that Spidey will come to him and take the suit back. However, the people below see Yu and start mistaking him for the real Spider-Man, and they call out to him to point out the burning building ahead. And not wanting to tarnish Spider-Man's name, as well as being pressured, he runs towards the danger. And I think this is the perfect time to point out one of my favorite factors about this manga, is that Spider-Man has no powers. Yu only has web shooters, but he doesn't even know how to use them. He has no ability to climb walls, or he doesn't have any super strength, no speed, or spider sense. He's just a regular citizen that happens to wear the real Spider-Man suit. One thing he has to his advantage was putting his rock climbing skills to use. He uses those skills to grab onto railings and other parts of walls to go up the building. And here we get to my favorite part of the story. When Yu gets inside the building, he finds the kid that was still trapped inside, hiding from the fire, and he begins to carry him. Yu struggles to find a way out as the path he took becomes blocked due to the debris and fire. He then becomes overwhelmed with all the smoke and fire that was blocking his path, and he starts to see his life flash before his eyes. He starts to apologize as he reminds himself that he didn't have the strength or courage that Spider-Man had. Many things go through his mind, like how he's about to die, how he let down the kid that was being bullied, and how he's been a failure, and how he's about to fail the kid that he's trying to rescue now. That's until the kid screams out for Spider-Man, a cry for help, a cry from someone who's relying on you to help him. Despite not knowing who's under the mask, Yu hears the kid calling out for the person under the mask, for that person, for Spider-Man to save him. And that gives Yu a sudden burst of energy and hope and determination, and Yu picks himself back up and attempts to find another way out. Once he reaches to a balcony, he realizes it's too high for him to jump, so he attaches some webs onto the rails and jumps off. However, the rail that the webbing has attached to snaps off, and in what he believed was his last moment before death, he embraces the kid and shields him from the fall. Fortunately, the citizens outside prepared a mattress that successfully catches Yu and the kid. This is my favorite moment out of the whole manga because of how everything comes full circle. Yu is now in the same position he was earlier with the bullies. Someone is calling out for help, and Yu is now in both situations where he can do something about it. And also, as an artist myself, these two panels are my absolute favorite. I really love this panel right here. You see Spider-Man being surrounded by smoke. The top page shows that like the smoke is like very dark, and like the smoke at the top is like a lot darker than the smoke on the bottom. And that dark smoke is hovering over Spider-Man's head. It's almost like the dark smoke represents Yu's self-doubt, fear, and regrets. But right when you look down like towards like the middle of like the page, it's a lot lighter, and it's where the kid is positioned. The kid is under Spider-Man's chin, and his eyes are lit up when the kid screams for Spider-Man. It's showing that Spider-Man is in the darkness, and yet there's still that beacon of hope that gives Spidey the motivation and power to keep moving forward, and that's what the kid represents. Like, that beacon of hope. Obviously, I may just be looking too deep into this, but it's the first thing that I thought about when like looking at this panel, and it's the first thing that kind of came into my mind when I first read it as well. It's one of my favorite aspects of the story where Yu is placed in these tough situations where he shouldn't be in because he has no powers. He doubts himself many times. He knows that there is someone much suited to handle these kinds of situations. Yu is just a regular citizen who happens to put on the suit, and he has no idea what he's doing. But he knows that wearing this suit represents the physical appearance of the good person that Spider-Man is. The type of good that he needs to hold up for Spider-Man. But he soon realizes that Spider-Man isn't just a good person because he does good things. It's because of what he's risking and what the person behind the mask is doing in order to do something like this every single day. Someone has to put on this mask every day and work and fight and protect people in much worse scenarios every single day. Determination, confidence, bravery, passion, all things like that is what it takes to wear the mask and be Spider-Man. No matter how many times you get knocked down, what matters is how many times you get back up, no matter how bad things get. And that gives this good person the strength to do good things for these people. And if you can do good things for these people, then you have a moral obligation to do those things. That's what Spider-Man Fake Red is about, and it's what the main aspect of the story is. When you have great powers to climb up walls, or shoot webs, or lift up cars, it's not just about the choice of what you do with these powers, it's responsibility. Unlike the recent comics that we've been getting, the Amazing Spider-Man comics, Spider-Man Fake Red stays true to the original heart of the character, and it is an actual good and interesting story going for itself. There were a couple things that I feel like the manga could have done better. First, kind of wish that we saw Yu's personal life a little more in detail in the start of the volume, it would have been nice to see Yu by himself trying to make friends and failing, sort of showing us that he is an outcast as the way he described himself to be. The pacing for the introduction of Yu's character was done pretty fast. The same can be said for the main villain of the volume, where his backstory was kind of underwhelming, and that his backstory was shown after he was introduced. And as a villain, he was kind of underwhelming, and we didn't even see his aftermath after Spider-Man defeated him. And I'm pretty sure you may know, one of the villains is Mysterio, and I didn't really like his design all that much. It's not bad. The only thing I didn't like was that they didn't give Mysterio the iconic fishbowl, which is the most iconic thing about Mysterio. For me, the best Mysterio suit design is obviously going to be the MCU Mysterio. There's a lot more I want to say about this manga, but I feel like you guys should read this for yourselves. Unlike the Spider-Man comics that we've been getting recently, the Amazing Spider-Man comics, Fake Red understands the core and heart of Peter Parker, and it's able to tell a very cohesive story. The art is just so beautiful to look at, and it's overall a fun read. Unfortunately though, I believe due to this manga not selling well, the story got cancelled, and I don't know if there's still some hope left for Fake Red to be continued, but who knows. Trust me, give it a read, you won't regret it. But anyways, that'll be it for today's video. If you guys have read the manga, what did you guys think of it? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll respond to you guys. But anyways, that'll be it for the video, and I'm finally glad I got to make this video. Oh boy, now I think I'm gonna go eat something, so later. As the path he took becomes blocked due to the Fake Red. Fake Red understands the core and heart of Peter Parker. Okay, I fucked that up too.